Welcome to Flat Earth Debate Live. I'm your host, Nathan Oakley, and if you are new to this channel, or you've not done so already, how dare you, then be sure to subscribe, hit the bell notification icon, and join button if you'd like to become a Nathan Oakley 1980 channel member and keep up to date with the Flat Earth Debate. If you would like to support the channel, there is a super chat that runs alongside each of these shows while they are live, and there's also a PayPal, Patreon, crypto, and thanks button in the info box below the video. Most importantly, if you'd like to join the discussion, simply mute the page you are currently watching, then click the link in the info box below this video to join the panel and express your views on the nature of Earth. If you do join, please don't swear. If you do, you'll be ejected, and if you are, please don't try to rejoin the stream using sock accounts. You'll be warmly welcome back on the next stream. Please also share the show on social media. Sharing the show obviously increases the live audience, but this in turn increases the chances of a more diverse panel, so please share the show on Facebook and Twitter. Now we are joined by Arwin, the Adam Meakin, Neil, Paul, Brian, or Brian's Logic, and a whole bunch of people in Discord, so welcome one and all.
Hello, good afternoon.
Boom.
It's Friday.
Buenos dias.
So you know that the name One Deck, obviously DJ related. Does that mean that when you did your DJing, you only had one deck?
Yeah, I think I told you the story. I went out on a night out to the Hacienda for a night, and I didn't come back home for 3 days. I had a big row with my partner, and she picked up my turntable, one of my turntables, and threw it across the bedroom. And I was only left with one turntable, so I was called One Deck from that day on.
Was it an SL1210 or something?
Yeah, it's 1210 direct drive, heavy, but she was angry.
I was going to say that thing's about 8 or 9 kilos. You could do some damage if you threw one of them.
Yeah, she did some damage to it, and I only had one deck. And that's why I'm called One Deck.
Yeah, I'm not talking about the deck. I'm talking about the thing it hits. Anyway, just aside for right at the beginning of the live show, any evidence of physical geometric sphere edges, formerly known as Earth curve?
That would be
evidence
a geometric
Earth radius.
No, it wouldn't. You gotta know what you're talking about here, buddy. If you don't know what you're talking about, you do not come on this panel.
Okay, for whatever reason, we ended up in the pre-show critiquing one of our own on Flat Earth 24/7 Discord. Subscribe today. Okay, so it's a good server. It's run by good people. Doesn't mean there's not the occasional overzealous flat earther in there, and that's all that we're dealing with, or were dealing with in the pre-show. Yeah, and both myself and Brian empathised with the guy. We're like, yeah, I totally get it. I totally relate. You're going to be combative after however many years in this arena. It makes you that way. But Neil definitely didn't like it. And I also appreciate why Neil didn't like it. And we'll maybe get into what he didn't like later into the live show, because at the moment we're just leaving you hanging with what we're talking about. Anyway,
yeah.
Go on.
Look in the dark is look, I heard you guys chattering there, so can we get a summary at this where it's relevant?
Right, well, rather than a summary, I'll just play you a little bit so you can get an idea of what we're talking about. So this is the channel, okay? So before we make this sound like we're being negative to this channel, we are not, and we want you all to subscribe. These are our own, right? And it's appropriate, if nothing else, that we start at the very least promoting our own where we don't get promotion from within YouTube. It's one thing me saying go to this person and tell them Nathan Oakley 1980 sent me, so they hopefully, chance would be a fine thing, put a link to my video in theirs if they did a response. But in this case, you know, this is our own, right? We don't need to go out of our way to tell our audience. If you are unaware of 24/7 Flat Earth Discord, then now you're not, and you should be subscribed to them. They don't have anywhere near enough subscribers considering the amount of work and effort that goes into keeping that channel maintained. And right here, right now, we've just made a whole pre-show based purely on this channel's content. So if nothing else, I'm going to give them a like, obviously share them as I've just done. So go and click on the link. Maybe let them know as well. Why not? Nathan Oakley 1980 sent me, or at Nathan Oakley 1980 sent me. Same routine. Why not? Just because they're one of our own doesn't make it any different. If I can leech some subscribers out of them, I will. Anyway, yeah, go and subscribe. You know, it is what the name suggests. You get what you'll subscribe to. So you'll have a quick listen to it and you can get an idea of what we're talking about.
But they have a model
And the whole point of their model is that they have an explanation for everything, and we don't have an explanation for everything, and it pisses them the fuck off.
They'll have to excuse the language. I've not listened to this before, so I don't know whether there's going to be bad language. My bad. We're only 10 minutes into the live show. That's fair enough. I haven't started the recording. Let's just do that now. Okay, so what can I say? I'll give a summary. Paul's being critiqued in terms of his flat earthing skills by whoever this guy is. And his sentiment is that Paul should be proficient in the globe model prior to being out on the circuit debating flat earth, or at the very least in the Flat Earth 24/7 Discord server as a representative of flat earth. If he's going to be there, that's this guy's attitude. Paul, that is. If Paul's going to be there talking flat earth, he better damn well know how big the circumference is of the earth that he's not claiming. Paul's response, I'm not claiming it. It's a begging the question fallacy. Why would I need to know it? But that's not really been listened to. So that's where we're at. If anybody else wants any, do you want any more or what?
This is a fellow flat earther criticising Paul for not knowing heliocentric rhetoric well enough.
Correct, but he does know it.
Yeah,
Thanks.
and Brian and I can relate.
Doesn't matter.
I can relate. I've said similar things. You need to know your stuff. You should know the argument better than they do if you're expecting to win. So I can relate.
Yeah, but just the way Paul answered certain questions, you should know that he knows what he's talking about. Come on.
Okay, so Neil's issue is that the
I think
critique
that-
of Paul shouldn't even be happening because he's obviously a flat earther. He's obviously, for a start, he's given thousands of pounds to this show. Yeah, not that that's something that should buy you way into getting a flat earth badge.
Point.
But my point is, he's a dedicated supporter of this show, right? Now, does that mean he has to prove his salt in terms of his debating ability to call himself a flat earther? I would say no. This guy, for his server, is saying, it's not his server, but, considering he's a accredited flat earther on that server, he's saying you need to earn that here. That's his point. And Neil's saying, no, he shouldn't have to. Paul, that is. Sorry about all this, Paul. You're being very quiet while we talk about and critique your interactions on Flat Earth 24/7. Hope you don't mind. Almost talking about you in the third person at the moment.
No, it's just, I posted it in the war room for you to see. So people I know Elijah follows 24/7 quite closely. So he just was aware that this was happening, in case other new flat earthers come on board. I was concerned that they might be put off from, joining other flat earth groups.
Well, exactly, and I want to see the reverse of that, which is why we're giving it our attention today, not to mention the fact that 10th Man isn't here, therefore no one's queued up a decent video to respond to. So this is what we're doing. Oh, I miss 10th Man.
Sloppy seconds, is that what you're saying?
Pardon?
Sloppy seconds, that's what we're doing?
No. Has someone else reviewed this already?
I'm only kidding.
But I agree with you. That type of discord going back and forth, that could make an outside person or somebody on the fence kind of not want to be bothered or, kind of be like, they're right. Flat earthers are dicks. Pardon my language. But you know what I'm saying? Yeah, I don't. But I can understand where the guy was saying, how you kind of say, Nathan, in a more appropriate, politically correct way, how let's leave the speculative aspects alone, leave all of the, the what ifs, the assumptions, and all that thing. Let's stick to the facts. I can see what the guy is saying because he's speaking what you're saying, but the way he's doing it is a put off way, and that can make
There
a
is
person.
no way, Steve, there is no way Nathan would grill any further when somebody says that they got their model, so-called model, from elevation angles from Polaris on a flat plane. Right there tells you, oh, shoot, this guy knows what he's talking about.
He wasn't listening.
Oh, I got you.
He wasn't
Okay, so
listening to
that's
that,
what
though, was he? He didn't hear it.
I didn't hear. Yeah, I didn't hear that.
No, not you,
I'm
D.
sorry, yeah.
The guy that Paul's speaking to didn't hear him. So he said, why would I need to? They're just begging the question. Now, because he said it in a nonchalant way, it's gone in one ear and out the other.
So they come in here fucking screaming to high heavens, you guys are a bunch of fucking idiots. Y'all don't know anything. Y'all don't even have a model. Your flat earth model sucks.
See, this is him justifying why he's a dick, as you call him. And again, I can relate. And I'm sure Brian, who's also a dick, can totally relate to this. As dicks, we can say, yeah, we understand that people feel that we are dicks in our behaviour. And I have behaved like this, Neil. There's been people who've come into the server that I've mislabeled. I haven't assigned them correctly, given them their badge, and they're flat earthers. And I've started critiquing them on their postulations about how a globe might or might not work, assuming that they're a globehead. And I've tore into them instantly because of my prejudice, right? Showing my sleeve, my heart on my sleeve, by going, I don't like you, you're a glober, so I'm going to rip into you based on what you've asked me. Well, I've just misjudged the person. Now, this guy has misjudged Paul, but he's, you know, on his way to finding out that, but he's already got his, the adrenaline is already coursing through his veins, isn't it? Do you know what I mean?
Yes, I understand.
Exactly. Exactly.
It's like, bro, that's not how it works in here. You're sitting there saying I'm shooting you in the foot. You need to know what the globe says, dude. I'm telling you.
And I keep agreeing. In the pre-show, I agree now. Right? It's the sentiment of what this guy's saying I totally agree with. If you're going to be out there arguing the toss about whether or not Earth's flat, yeah, you do need to know their model better than they do, because otherwise there's a good chance you'll lose when they confront you with something you've never heard of before. And you go, oh, I don't know the answer to that. Oh, well, Earth's a globe, ha ha ha. Well, if that's the outcome you're hoping for, shout out to Sensual Goat, gifted 5 memberships. They've immediately got snapped up. Thank you very much for the support. Really appreciate it, Sensual
They're
Goat.
allocated, Nathan.
Allocated.
Yeah, I think when somebody sticks them up, if you've pre-registered, you have to say next time I want to be included, and then I think it just kind of picks them for you. Because
Wait,
I thought to me.
I thought you had to be the next person that says something in chat, and then you get the membership. That's how I got it one time.
Maybe. Or they just decided you were going to get it. But either way, thank you very much, Sensual Goat. Like I say, this guy, he's got a lot of adrenaline pumping through his veins, and the sentiment of what he's saying, I agree with, regardless of it being to a very avid supporter of this show in a negative manner. I can't disagree with him. If you don't want your ass handed to you, know their model better than they do. And when I say their model, I mean their assumption that all of their maths and figures results in something physical that they could present to us as a model. It doesn't. There isn't. That's currently where we're at in this discussion.
On you right now. I'm not going to give it to you. I'm not going to give you flat Earth. I'm going to recommend that you don't get flat Earth.
And
Just
that's
because
the
you're sitting here arguing with me about what I'm telling you, you need to know as a normal flat earther, you need to know the globe model better than them. That's why QE is such a badass on his arguments, because he knows what they're going to fucking say before they say it. So go get QE. Go get QE and have him come in here and talk to me. I bet you he'll agree with me.
Is the
So
point
it's
now
not
getting
really.
is this about getting a label in Discord? And now you've got to take a pop quiz before it.
No,
Right.
not
label of
exactly.
flat
Let me
earther
clarify,
was-
Adam. No, not exactly. The sentiment of what he's saying is, in order for me to be designated as a flat earther here in this server, I had to show competent knowledge of the globe model and competent knowledge of flat earth proof, and then I got my accreditation. If you want it, you've got to achieve the same standard I had to, and it sounded like he was proud of that assignment to that category in this server, and the pride of that one has led him to, you know, demand that someone else reaches the same standard, just to give him a bit of credit where it's due.
That's not what the badge was for. Last time I was there, that was to say whether or not you were recognized as a flat earther. Not it was issued when a certain competency of argument was achieved. It was there was the 5 questions badges and stuff like that, where you could take someone apart and get given a gold badge for demonstrating that kind of skill with knowledge. But to me, the flat earth badge was just to identify who you were talking to, and
Exactly.
you got it when it was clear you were a flat earther and not somebody pretending to be a flat earther. But you didn't have to pass a test in terms of knowledge test. It was just your integrity test on the server. Are you who you say you are?
Hold on a second. Are you saying you've never passed the test, Adam?
I was given whatever it was called, that 5 point slap thing that you can take a ball apart with. That I earned, but I was just given as soon as I turned up, flat earther, because I don't think I had to demonstrate to those guys that I was a flat earther. I didn't think I was given it because of my knowledge.
I wasn't either, and that's the point. Paul just wanted to be recognized as a flat earther so nobody would mistake him as a glober. End of story.
Yeah, my
And I
beck and
think he's
call.
proven it.
I've asked him in Skype, and we'll see what he's around.
Say, I want you to ask him this: as a flat earther, is it important for me to know the globe model?
Oh dear. that
Wait, listen to
phraseology, I already know what the response from Kiwi would be. It would be 2 words with a question mark. What model? That would be his response.
No, I'm asking if they have a model and whether they'd agree with you.
They do have a model.
To me.
It's just a fucked up model. It's false. But they have
Show
a
it
model.
me. Show it me. Show me this model of theirs.
Yeah, it ain't going to happen, Adam.
A conceptual model.
Oh, hold on.
suppose.
Is that because the person that's attacking Paul hasn't got sufficient knowledge to recognise that they haven't got a model?
Yeah, that's the problem, isn't it?
Yeah.
Ironic. Yeah, man, you better know their model better than they do. All right, I do. I know they don't have one. Well, you better know that model they don't have better than they know it.
Hilarious.
Pretty much. That's what it sounds like.
Model.
So we're not
Have a model
required to know.
Pedestals is you're easily toppled.
Yeah, and that's the thing. I don't want to critique this guy, and I've got a lot of empathy for his position and his attitude. You know, I can relate. I can see a lot of my attitude in his attitude, and I think
Exactly.
yeah, fair enough, mate.
No way.
Lighten up a bit would be my only critique.
Oh, with the radius of 20.
Neil, you need to stop. You know Nathan back in the day. Not even
No.
12
Not
to
if somebody
18
came
months
in
ago.
with the
Could you taste my
Not-
balls? My balls inside your mouth. He used to
That's
go
different.
in. Merciless.
That-
Merciless.
just play the video.
24,901 miles all the way around. They have a model with the average radius, not a radius, an average radius.
That's not true. It's set in stone at 39.59. It's not variable. Back engineered from the lights in the sky. It has to be that value. Otherwise, it wouldn't work with the grid.
Right. So he don't know what
actually
he's
not.
talking about.
No, it's not 24,901 and it's not 3959. It's 3958.09. That's their exact. They rounded off up to-
3958.09.
Nice.
That's their exact. Yeah.
To be specific.
And their
So it's
model
closer to
changes
39.58 then.
constantly.
So it's more like 39.58.
Morning, guys. Yeah, I don't know why they rounded it off up the way to 3959. I never really gave that. Or maybe I did give it thought, but I can't remember if I did. But it is 3958.09. And that's from the back engineering of the flat earth elevation angles to Polaris.
Right, so 0.09, you could round that up to 3958.1 if you were to round it up. But you wouldn't round that up to 3959. That seems weird. I wonder why they've done that.
Well, part of the reason might be because they're trying to claim an oblate spheroid, but that's not geometric. See, the oblate spheroid part that they're claiming has nothing to do with their geometry. It's about centrifugal force causing the what would have been a sphere within their model to be an oblate spheroid, because they have to claim that their equatorial radius is a little bit bigger than their polar radius because of centrifugal force, because they're claiming a rotation. It wouldn't have been necessary
Okay,
in
I got a
Brackey's time because there wouldn't have been a rotation.
So it's causing a movement.
Or
Okay.
maybe there would have been. Maybe there would have been actually, yeah. But there
Well,
would have been.
with
Sorry,
regard-
I'm wrong about that. But the point is that because maybe it's something to do with they are claiming a dual radii, but that's not geometric. Their dual radii is not geometric. That's based on the claim that they are also rotating. The only geometric radius is 3958.09.
Plus,
Okay,
guys, I don't think you have to know the full model. I mean, at the end of the day, they're claiming a sphere of 3959, yeah? And all you need to know is how did you measure it? And it comes back to elevation angles. You don't need to know about the so-called orbits and distances to the sun. because that comes after you've proved the globe. It's where do you get your R from? And that's, you just knuckle them down on that.
Exactly.
And
The
not-
Bill
origin
hasn't
of
answered that question.
the origin of all of
What?
the claims starts with the assumption of the radius value. So that is the most critical detail for their assertion, regardless of whether or not we get to see a physical model being presented. That's the start of their maths.
I've just done that
That's what
from
Nathan.
an
That's what I was going to
elevation
say.
angle.
Hold on, Adam, just one sec. Go ahead, D-Rose.
I was going to ask. That's what I was going to say. Irregardless if it's 39.59, 49.59, 69.59, 12, 9.59, whatever, to acquire that geometric radius, it had to go with the elevation angles to
Irrespective.
do the measure. So at the end of the day, they still had to use a flat plane in order to get what they get, no matter what the number is. Because you know how they adjusted gravity from Newtonian law to Einstein bull crap, you know. They could do the same thing with this radius measurement. They can come back and be, we finally, National Geographic put a big magazine. We did this, we did another survey, and actually the radius is now 79.59. So now we can answer for the curve. But at the end of the day, how did you get that? They did it the same way they got the 39.58.9, whatever.
Back engineered it. It's regardless or irrespective. Irregardless, I don't think is even a word, but it's a double negative. So regardless, but if you say irregardless, it's the negative of regardless, which doesn't make any sense. So I think the word you're searching for is irrespective, not
Did I say
irregardless.
irregardless? I'm sorry. My bad.
That's all right.
That's a bad
Just
regardless.
a pet peeve.
My wife just told me about that. Man.
I hear it and go, ugh.
My wife just told me, she's
Irregardless.
like, what?
So not regardless of this. Just one of those things that bugs me.
Irregardless, can I get a mic check? Good morning.
Don't
Chocolate, what's
start
up,
with this
chocolate?
irregardless. No, I don't want that to become a thing, please. Irrespective of your criticisms of his language, can I get a mic check? Yes, you may. We hear you perfectly clearly.
Brian,
Go ahead, Adam.
Yes,
All right,
Adam.
cool.
I've done the back. I just correct me on this. I come out with 3956.09. So I take 60 nautical miles, multiply that by 90, multiply it by 4 to give me 21,600 as a circumference value. Divide by 2, divide by pi to give me an R value of 3,437.74967 nautical miles. Convert that to land miles, it comes out at 3956.09.
Yeah, but if I got that as well, but most calculators will give you the pi of, or when you get the radius, sorry, of 21,600, they'll give you 3440. And I think if you use 3440, it becomes 3958.09. Just check that.
I used
But yeah, that
21,000, but then divided by a longer pi.
I hope you're all writing this down in the audience, because if you're not and you don't get it right on the test, you're not a flat earther.
I knew it.
Of 3958.8, which is 3959. The polar radius is supposed to be what, 3950, and then the equatorial radius is supposed to be 3963. Come on, you're supposed to know this shit, dude.
But
What's
that's
the-
not
what's
And
the
we're
rate of
mixing
spin?
models here, aren't we? We're mixing models. So we've got the standard heliocentric model where we've got a ball, and then we're incorporate. I don't know which type, whether we're just incorporating slight varied R value and of a Blake spheroid, or whether we're going to put it into a WPGS geodesic thing, which will be even more different. So
Who
don't need.
was just saying that to you, Adam? I'm sorry.
This is to Paul. This was, I think, yesterday on 24/7.
Right, I got 80 people watching. Let's see if we can get to 100. Please share the show.
It wasn't yesterday. It was from a couple of weeks ago. Go ahead.
The way the model was made, it has to be a perfect sphere.
1,039 miles per hour. That's the rate of the spin of the Earth. What is the rate of how fast it orbits around the sun? 66,600 miles per hour. You're supposed to know this shit so that way when they fucking come up to you screaming at you and telling you that you're a fucking piece of shit flat earther and you don't know shit, well, then you ask them, well, what does your globe say? And I don't know. Let me go.
Why? Why would I ask them what their globe says? If I'm a flat earther, I've relinquished all concern. I don't care what their globe says. Not that globes talk, but there's a danger when you become a flat earther with this attitude, which is, again, I've justified it a couple of times. I'm not going to do it again. But there's a danger that when you listen back to how you're phrasing some of the positions that you will be taking in defense of a flat earth and offense of the globe, or against the globe, you find yourself listening back and going, I sound like I'm a heliocentric dictator. Because he's barking out what this guy needs to know, Paul. Right? You need to know this, Paul. You need to know Earth spinning around the sun at 66,000 miles an hour. You need to know this. Because if they come against you and they tell you about how the Earth's doing this and that, it's like all we're focusing on is how well we do or do not know the globe. Now, that dissemination of information starts with the Feast of Nonsense. So you get to the Feast of Nonsense as a flat earther, and you learn all sorts of counter-arguments to the globe. Now, this is ideal if you're in a controlled narrative situation with flat earth essentially being controlled by the people who put out the narratives that flat earthers will parrot. And if your arguments are all hinged around understanding how the globe doesn't work, your understanding of your argumentation is about the globe. Therefore, you and your opponent will only argue about how the globe does or doesn't work. Well, that's win-win. It's like arguing about whether or not there will or will not be a deflection at 15 degrees now because we do experience Coriolis in line with the globe claim, or do not experience Coriolis because we've shown it doesn't happen, therefore Earth and atmosphere turn together. Well, that's still Earth turning as a sphere. Well, which we're going to argue about? Earth turning as one with the atmosphere, not giving us Coriolis as claimed by the globe? Or should we argue about how the globe says we'll have Coriolis and we don't have it? Both result in two people arguing about the globe. That's very handy for the protagonists of the globe argument. Go ahead, whoever that was.
So what globe? The globe that you needed to measure elevation angles on a flat plane to get that globe?
That's what Paul said. But Paul said exactly that.
That may have been what Paul said, but what Chocolate's doing in the face of my seemingly very negative position put forth in regards to this discussion. Turtle Productions. Which is to say, far better, as Chocolate's just demonstrated, to point out that the globe required a flat Earth. Because then, if the globe comes into the equation, which it will, your opponent's a globe believer, it'll be about how the globe required a flat Earth to be in existence. Then you're arguing very differently, aren't you? Then it's not two people arguing about how the globe will work or will not work, but both are globe related. It's like arguing within the begging the question proof of nothing perspective hijacking Earth curve calculator, as we did back at the Isle of Man. What is it, 5 years ago now? Well, when we did that, what we didn't appreciate when we're saying, look, you can see more of the Isle of Man than you should, right? We didn't appreciate that than you should is how much the globe says it will be visible. Well, what we've got is an inconsistency with the globe. Well, that's very beneficial to the people arguing. That's why they came in droves. Because no matter which way it went, no matter how much we showed it not matching with the model, they'd tell us how the model could be changed to match it. But that was a win-win no matter what happened for the globe. I had that argument of said, how are we getting these lines here? Are these straight? Really? So none of these lines for accurate measurement refracted? All right, let's just draw a big fat line through refraction. Because obviously we're using straight lines, aren't we? Okay. So how did we get this grid? How did that come to fruition? You know, for us to know the longitude and latitude lines. Where did it all come from? Was it with the straight lines and angles to the stars? So all of this argument about whether or not we can or can't see something based on how the math says we can or can't see it, and whether or not it'll be fudged to match the picture in an orthographic representation, is irrelevant because the model was made from a flat Earth. Like, you wouldn't have this model of a globe if it wasn't for the angle measurements from a flat plane. So why are we even arguing about how much we can or can't see at the Isle of Man? The angles that were used to make this model came from a flat Earth. So this is nothing more than a flat Earth proof. If this works, it works to demonstrate how well the flat Earth elevation angle measurements used to make the model work. If it doesn't work, it's how much of a failure it is to assert that the Earth is curving when you've measured it flat. Now we have a win-win for flat Earth, don't we? Where are all the globers? Yo, hello, globers, globe believer, where are you? You don't come anymore when the argument is left in a position where only flat Earth will win. And every time someone puts up a $10,000 challenge to say, how do these flat Earth elevation angle measurements work on a flat Earth? We point that out to them. Hey, MC Toon, you're not here. I have an open door. Why aren't you ramming down the flat Earth elevation angle measurements in your challenge anymore? Why aren't you here telling the world how wonderful you are for not having paid anybody like a scammer, for not satisfactorily figuring out how the flat Earth elevation angle measurements in your challenge work on a flat Earth? I wonder why Toon isn't here, like his predecessors. That'd be Rumpus and Charles Flat Earth Math and who's Cats. All the people who did come here when they thought that they could win, when we were arguing about Earth curve calculators that were win-win for the globe. Not anymore. Now they don't come because they can't win. The globe required a flat Earth. Why is there still only 80 people watching? Share the show. What's wrong with you people? Smash that share button immediately. Yeah, that's how the argument should be positioned, and that's what Chocolate's just pointed out. Tell them how their globe needed a flat Earth elevation angle measurement, and you watch them disappear like a whippet with a bum full of dynamite.
Or watch them or listen to them tell you how flat and horizontal it is in order to get that elevation angle in the first place.
And
And
to,
you sit
and
back
to
and laugh,
follow
have some
that,
popcorn, snack
and
the back.
and to follow that, we close the coffin.
Like, why aren't we trolling these people? I'm not interested in covering video responses from them anymore. These are the anti-flat earthers. But there's no reason why we can't poke the bear, as Anthony Riley used to say. I mean, while we're telling people to go and respond to the videos, I don't even have to put MC Toon's video up. If you're aware of him, you can let him know at Nathan Oakley 1980 sent me to let you know you need a flat earth for your elevation angle measurements and your challenge. Give me 10 grand. When he's got about 50, 100, 150 messages from people saying, at Nathan Oakley 1980 sent me, give me 10 grand. You need a flat earth for the elevation angle measurements. The challenge only works with the flat earth, give me 10 grand. And when there's 150 messages all saying the same thing to MC Toon, what's he going to do? Pay up the 10 grand? No. But I will label him a con artist and a cheat and a scammer and a fraud because he's not coughing up the 10 grand. We've told him. Yeah, these angles came from a flat earth. When you say, how do these angles work on a flat earth, plot it out on a flat earth, they came from a flat earth. That's the end of the challenge. Only works if Earth's flat. You wouldn't get the angles to ask us about if it wasn't flat. That's how they were measured. Give me 10 grand. Where the hell is it? Put it in my bank, MC Toon. You dirty, cheating scumbag fraud. Yeah, you cheating liar. You offered up 10 grand if people could show how flat earth elevation angles measurements worked on a flat earth. Yeah, well, we pointed out how self-defeating the argument was. He didn't pay us. Making him a fraud. That's what the globe side of this argument has. Not people piling in on here en masse because the doors are wide open for them to come in and tell us how globe-shaped it all is. No. To offer up 10 grand that they won't pay anybody when we prove that the angles in the challenge require a flat earth. They won't work any other way unless they're measured flat because they're angles. They're straight lines, not curved ones. End of challenge. Flat earth proven. Did Paul, the other Paul, get his 10 grand? No. Did he get 25 seconds to point that out and then get rumpused after a 20-minute presentation from Ruhif? Yeah, he did. Yeah, but that's what we have to oppose. That's why they're not here. Well, if you understand that as a position to take as an argument, that the globe required a flat Earth to exist, then you'll never lose. Understand that. You don't need to know what the radius is. You don't need to know what the circumference is. You don't need to know what the axial rotation or angular velocity is of their claim. Know that their claim relies on a flat Earth to get it. That's all you need to know.
Even if they're, well, they have to admit that they need a flat, level, horizontal base, and even if they're admitting they're using mercury or water, which they can do, after that, all you need to do is then ask them what formula they then used to turn it into a spherical. Ask them what formula, because it's a mathematical formula thereafter for the globe, not reality.
Right. The globe requires a conversion from a flat Earth. What else is there to say? We wouldn't be here if that wasn't the case. If we were telling the world that the Earth is banana-shaped with nothing to back it up and no proof in the form of celestial navigation requiring a flat plane to measure the ground and surface of Earth flat, and that flat measurement to Polaris is required to give you the grid system on a globe. Once you know that, what else is there? Literally. You're out there on the circuit. Sod everything that the globe claims. You don't need to spew up that feast of nonsense garbage anymore. Put the shoe on the other foot and watch how quiet it is around you. You won't get what this guy is used to because he kowtows to the idea that you've got to argue about how the globe works. It doesn't work. It's up to them to demonstrate that it does, and you don't need to concern yourself once you know that every single claim they make about how the globe quote-unquote works required a flat Earth elevation angle measurement to Polaris to plot out the grid system on a spherical surface. That's it. Game over. Now, if Earth wasn't flat, banana-shaped, they could just censor us. If we were suddenly making headway where, well, Earth isn't banana-shaped and there's obviously proof that we're on a flat plane, we need to censor them because they're getting too much traction. And nobody would bat an eyelid if that was the case. The only reason we're getting traction is because you can't censor us out of existence. Because where'd you draw the line? When the models come from a flat Earth elevation angle measurement that's performed daily. It's not going to have a line. You can't draw a line. Earth is flat. That's why we're still here. What you can do is shove us to the bottom of the lists of crap that have got nothing to do with us and promote every anti-flat earther that there is out there. So then you get people like on the debate I had recently that think they've spent 12 months researching flat Earth because they've spent 12 months looking at anti-flat Earth Soundly videos, not appreciating that we would put it to Soundly that his claim of Earth curve has been debunked at the geometric horizon we can't see and only exists in the maths. We can concisely take apart what people think they've spent 12 months researching. No. The actual story here has been suppressed because it's not a proof sheet, it's a story of how everyone was deceived into believing they were on a globe. That's the story. Earth just factually is flat. It's measured that way and navigated that way and built on that way. You're not going to change that. That's never going to change. The only thing that's on the verge of non-existence is the globe idea permeated throughout the Western society. That's what's on the verge of collapse and requires censorship for us. You can't completely obliterate us. Because what are you going to do? Obliterate all celestial navigation and mapping off the face of the Earth too? Yeah, it's never going to happen. We will be here forever. We are here to stay. Because what are you going to tell us? No, we've got to get rid of you because you're telling people how we navigate and how we build. Yeah, so are your builders and your navigators.
So it's back to the fact, Neil, that the best place, probably the only place, correct me if I'm wrong, that you're going to get it right and exact, simplified, concise, irrefutable, is right here on Nathan Oakley FUD.
I agree with that, but 24/7, they got a tight ship over there. They know what they're talking about. This guy was overzealous, and he's mistaken that you don't need all of that just to get labeled as a flat earther. You need that for something else to get other badges. I don't know what they are. Chocolate probably knows he's there. So I just think he was overzealous. He wasn't listening to Paul, because Paul's answers what left no doubt that he knows what he's talking about.
We're not talking about a label in society even, or a badge of honour, or a certificate. We're just talking about people being able to recognise you in a particular server. Wowee. But in terms of that wider reaching idea of being labelled a flat earther, number one, the only reason we have anti-flat earther as a category is because they don't want to be a flat earther. Half of them understand and recognise the arguments that we disseminate. That's why they're not here. Your Soundleys and your Cats and your Ruhifs and your Rumpuses. Yeah? They can't come back. Rumpus because he's banned, because he's a liar. But the rest of them, the door's still wide open. Why aren't they here? Because it's embarrassing. Take Ruhif, previous example, for his need for a geometric horizon. We go back through history and look at some of the things the man said with the calculations in front of him, asserting that we've got physical geometry blocking the bottom of the Isle of Man. Every claim is void that man made here. All of them. Kid you not. What, 6 straight months of Aussie nonsense from a wanker? Because every single word he said became void the moment we debunked the geometric horizon. The one he was claiming was blocking the bottom of the Isle of Man. Yeah, the Isle of Man was being refracted with respect to the horizon. It was specifically clarified by the liar Rumpus. Again, the reason he got banned, for that very lie. But it was clarified. We all knew what we were arguing about. The physical geometric obstruction at the horizon, measured with a tangent. And the targets were refracted with respect to it. Well, the moment you refract the horizon itself, as was the case after the Black Swan, with Ruhif now asking, can I not do geometry on a bent tangent? Yeah? Yeah, you could ask us that question, but also what simultaneously failed to realise that you asserted it was physically a geometric tangent point at the Isle of Man. Yeah, well, you told us how we didn't understand. Every word you said was wrong. That's why they can't come back. We voided what they said when we debunked the physical Earth curve edge horizon with the Black Swan. That was the point they all stopped coming. 2020, 1st Jan. Few stragglers came through to tell us it was refraction, not realising how idiotic it is to assert that you haven't got a straight line for a tangent anymore. Yeah, a few of them were too thick to realise how devastating it was to use that as a rebuttal and came here. After the rest of them cottoned on, with the exception of Roofy, they stopped piling in. Now they blame the mute button. Nathan can keep control of his guests with a mute button. What, like every single show that exists? So what? You'd be here en masse like you were before if you could back your endless blarted nonsense about physical obstructions at a geometric horizon like you did when it was win-win with the Earth curve calculator. Here we are now. There's no argument to be had. We know Earth is flat. They know Earth is flat. They only don't want to be a flat earther because they know damn well that the ridicule that they'll get is the dished out ridicule they gave. They'd be the subject of it. They don't want that. So in terms of people wanting this badge, why would you want it? Go out into society and do your shopping, come home. Who gives a toss if you have some tossy argument with somebody who says, yeah, the planet's going to end because of blah, blah, blah. Oh, we've got a meteor heading through the sky vacuum towards us, blah, blah. We're heading to Mars. Well, yeah, okay. Oh, that's right. Oh, right, okay. That's fascinating, you weirdo, is what you'd think. You'd have to suddenly tell them, I have said badge. I am dun, 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 a flat earther. Behold my certificate. Why? Who wants this?
I think I want one.
Unfortunately, I walk around with that badge at work, and I'm proud of it, so I don't care. That's just me.
Did you get a badge from the Flat Earth Society, Paul?
I'm gonna say it
There you
like
go.
this. I'm like Prince.
Paul recently joined the Flat Earth Society, and he might have stepped away from his mic, but he explained it to me that if you can't beat them, join them. If they're going to disseminate nonsense to the public, if we have members in there, hopefully at some point we'd have some influence over the information on their website, and you can change that if you're a member. Hopefully, hopefully, I've not stolen all of your thunder. I've seen you've just come off mic, Paul. Go ahead.
Yeah, no, I was going to ask Mark Sargent at your advice what he did and what site he joined, but I haven't got around to it yet because I've been busy with Element and other things.
To
It's
get
just
back
a
to that
forum
guy,
as far as I know.
sorry, Paul.
I think it's just a forum, you know, like a bulletin board type thing. I'm not sure if it's much more than that, unless I've found the wrong one.
There is only one, the one that comes up top on the search result.
There's at least two. I don't know if they're run by the same people, but there's two different web addresses. There's the Flat Earth Society, and then there's you know, the letters.org as well. TE, whatever it is.
Okay. I mean, I'm aware that there's the International Flat Earth Research Society, which is Eric DeBay's forum. But other than that, I was just aware of the Flat Earth Society.
Okay. I'll see if I can find it and post a link to the other one.
What did Mark have to say about it?
No, I haven't got around to emailing him yet.
He's on Skype. If you leave him I gave you his Skype contact. If you give him a... Did you not drop him a line on Skype? I could have swore I saw you two communicating with each other.
Yeah, no, he asked me to email him.
Oh, okay. He's old school.
But the bottom line was he just did not want people to get excited like there was a baller in the house. Just, I'm a flat earther. Here I am. He answered the question sufficiently. It should have been the end of the story. This guy was overzealous. And Nathan, you would not, if somebody came in and gave the answers that they gave, attack like he was being attacked. I'm sorry. And then to be called a rookie on top of it? No. Paul is not
Google
a
it
rookie.
real quick. You're supposed to know it without even Googling it, dude.
Neil.
So don't come in here
what
yelling
would that
at
be
me.
A rookie what? To call someone a rookie is a rookie what? A rookie flat earther.
That's what he said.
Well,
If you listen, you'll hear it.
You're not a flat earther, you're a rookie flat earther. Okay.
He's moaning that he doesn't understand heliocentrism well enough, so I don't get it. Really, that would be a rookie heliocentrist, wouldn't it?
I understand the notion that obviously the best way to destroy the globe is to know the globe you're destroying. I get that, but for a flat earther to tell another flat earther that he's a rookie just because he didn't know one or two things, like, I don't know, but that's a little off to me.
Thank you.
I kind of disagree with the premise. I've been pondering it, and when you started off saying, "No, you got to know what you got," I don't think you have, because the Isle of Man's a good example. If you know the detail, and we knew the detail inside out, we couldn't win. Okay, the way in which we win all of these things is not really detail about their model. It's just statements of fact that destroy them. So whether it be gas pressure, horizons are finally not now being recognized as not the leading edge of a ball. It's that detail that destroys them, not minutiae within their model. Because I think you said it, Nathan, that just ends up in a draw where you're arguing about their model. We destroy the ability for any of their concepts to exist.
Quick shout out to Retro Billy, says Ruhif's arguments haven't progressed one iota since the early days. He is still using the Earth curve calculator and talking about boats going over the horizon. Oh, really? What? The one that I literally only 2 minutes ago said were all invalidated 1st Jan 2020 with a black swan. You know, it's interesting that Ruhif speaks out of both sides of his mouth, because in a comment that we had from Brian and discussed heavily and will be released over the weekend in a video labelled The Broken Men of the Globe, that one's specifically about Glenn. Because Glenn was asking Brian about what the issue was if the line to the horizon was bent. Yet it seems Retro Bill is alluding to the idea of him talking out of both sides of his mouth and simultaneously using Earth curve calculations that require on a tangent point horizon. Yeah, that's the pain that you have to go through if you're a globe believer, Retro Bill. You know,
That's another
ask
good
about the
example.
curve problem and then simultaneously argue with noobs about how Earth curve maths works, like the good old days when it was a geometric obstruction, right, Rufy? Yeah, because they don't know any better. Why aren't you doing that here, Rufy? If you're arguing with the calculator, there's an open door here for you to come in so I can humiliate you. Thanks for the super chat, Retro Bill. Also, shout out to Sasha Unisox Femu. He says, you can be MVP, Glober, but water will not curve. Thanks for the super chat. Go ahead, whoever that was.
Also, Riff is another good example. Think of all the hours we spent, and all you do now is laugh at him and go, how's that geometric horizon working out for you? There's no requirement to understand refraction, ray tracing, all the details where we used to say, no, look, you've not followed the path there, you're too high there, you've not put the curve in there. All of those arguments you don't need anymore. You just laugh at him because he thinks that the horizon is the leading edge of a ball. He thinks he can have bent tangents to it. That's all that's required to destroy it, because you destroy the underlying premises that they're using, the falsehoods they're trying to use to build their ball. You don't have to argue the details of how they built it after that. Take away the building blocks.
They needed a flat Earth, though, didn't they? I mean,
Exactly.
They wouldn't go the same way today.
But what Retro Bill said was, I mean, that was on point, right? And that's what I was going to try to say. The argument has changed, but who's it changed for? It's not changed for them, because like you said, they're still using curve calculators. Like, now it's not a debate anymore. The argument has changed. So the flat earthers that were yelling at Paul, because, oh, you need to know this and that, I can kind of understand that if it was still 2016, 2017, but things have changed a bit. I don't know how long that guy's been in the game to be calling other people rookies. I don't know who that was, but things have done changed, man. It's not the same as it was in 2016.
His name is Sheepdog. Sheepdog Legend. I'm sure he's a good guy.
Saying, oh, there's not this, there's not that. I don't need to hear that. I'm a flat earther, dude. I fucking know that there's no fucking model. But they have their
very hostile for no reason, so I'll just leave, I guess.
They have their model. You need to know it. You need to know their talking points, why they argue the way they argue. You need to know how to defeat them. You need to know why their arguments are non sequitur. Why their arguments are fallacious in every fucking aspect.
I mean, as much as I would agree, Sheepdog, he did actually give a lot of information that I would say that a flat earther would give, right? Just because a rookie's a rookie.
Yeah.
But like, for instance, I came into this place not knowing the exact numbers either. I'm just saying I wouldn't scare people away. Just because I have heard him before. I know you kind of mentioned I have.
I assume that the sentiment continues from there, right?
Yeah, he gets into it's pretty much the same.
Okay. Well, this would normally be the part where I'd round out the live show and ask everyone to stay tuned. However, because the computer crashed yesterday, what I'd quite like to do is continue to test while the computer's under the most stress. So, consider this the end of the live show, but we're going to continue to be live. So, before we do anything else, I just want to bring up the quote from, I assume it's you that's posted this, Brian, right? Whoever's posted it.
I just posted it. Yeah.
Did you want to read it? And then, like I say, I'll let the conversation continue as though it's the after show, but we will still be live, just so you're aware.
Could I ask before you, just in reference to the video that you're watching, I heard Paul mention that it's on a YouTube channel called Refractive Philosophy. If I want to check it out, where can I check it out?
There's 2 channels. I'm hoping that one of my mods, because I'm pressing too many buttons to go and cut links, will put links to both of these channels into the live stream chat for people to go and subscribe immediately to, firstly, Refracted Philosophy, which is where Paul had that discussion discussed earlier You can go and check that out on Refractive Philosophy. He'll plug it in a minute. Also, Flat Earth 24/7 Discord channel, which is the channel that we're responding to and are most definitely on our side and are friendly, as is Refracted Philosophy channel. So these are channels that if we were in a normal arena with a normal community, like if I was looking up a computer part, there's a good chance that a related YouTuber that's covering computer parts would come up in the list next to it. Not so with Flat Earth. Half the time, I'm blissfully unaware of all the people around me, despite the fact that I spend 90% of my life on YouTube, looking at it, watching it, editing videos for it, and producing stuff on it live. Doesn't mean I know who the Flat Earthers are. So in this instance, we've got some direct connections to people on the panel. So obviously Paul, in this instance, is going to plug Refractive Philosophy. Go ahead, Paul, if you're hopefully going to go off mute and do that. Otherwise, this will be a terrible plug.
Yeah, sorry, I'm busy doing something else. But yeah, the other thing I was talking about, and I posted it in the war room, was we were having a conversation one Saturday with Ruhif, and he was trying to claim that Mick Weff's begging the question curve calculator was a logical syllogism. I thought that was funny. So people should listen to that, and that was on Refractor Show. But what you were just reviewing was me on 24/7 from a live stream they had.
Sure. So there's two links that are going to go out, hopefully, by the moderators now. Thank you, Divergent Droid. So yeah, there's the 24/7 Discord channel, which is the one we've just reviewed, and Refracted Philosophy, which we were just discussing. So yeah, go and subscribe to both of them. They're both Flat Earth channels. So they're both going to have content that's going to be of interest to you if you're watching this show. Like I say, I don't know how I'd get you guys into the mood to sort of transition to a non-live show that is live, because that kind of doesn't exist. But with that, a huge, massive, enormous thank you to all of you. Smashed the super chat, liked, commented, shared, subscribed, joined as a member, and all that good stuff. We are going to stay live, but if the computer crashes, obviously it'll be the end of the live show. So I wanted to drop a bit of an outro at this point. But stay tuned, because there's going to be an after show to follow. Hooray!
Well, maybe I was a little too rough. Like I fight for my guys. When I'm on the same team as somebody and I feel they're being harassed, I got to get in there. And I felt Paul was being harassed for no reason.
Forgot about Brian. What was Brian going to do?
Got a question for you, QE. If I was to suggest to you that you would agree with me when I said that flat earthers need to understand the globe model, would you agree? What would be your response to that statement?
No.
No. Okay.
We're
I'd
looking
say,
for one model, QE.
that's exactly what I'd say. I'd say, let's show the model so I can understand it.
Hold it. Yeah.
Yep.
Exactly.
Well, somebody
what model?
owes Paul $100 then.
Yeah,
you were quoted. You were QE. You were quoted. You were quoted by this person to say that you would agree 1,000% with him that you got to know the model, their model, in order to be able to debate a glober by knowing everything.
That's not what he said. He said, I bet $100 QE would agree with me that there was a model.
Exactly.
What?
To be precise. Yeah. Exactly.
That person doesn't know QE very
I think it'd lose $100.
Yep.
I don't know. How many times have I said over the past, I don't know, 5 or 6 years, the moment I brought it up to cathexis, anyone that says model, I say, model? Can you show us that? How many times have I said that? How many times have I interrupted arguments right in the midst of them to say that? How many times do you think?
Well, that's what I don't understand, because Paul did say that. He said QE would not agree right now because QE says what model? So this guy Sheepdog, he says he knows you. He called you a badass in debating. So I don't know what his problem was.
9.
But these guys believe their model is what you buy in Walmart and Target that you see on the desks in classrooms and in libraries that says not for educational purposes. They think that is the model because they think that is the model of the earth that we inhabit. That's why they call it the model. That's why Fight the Tight Shirt Craig showed that little pet dog ball pin, spongy ball that was a globe shape and literally was measuring measurements going back and forth with Flatzoid of distances, of coordinates distances. They think that is the model for the Earth
He
that they
wasn't.
have in their mind.
Come on, Brian.
He
I'll
was.
get back. I'll get
He
back
was
to you in a second. I'll get back to you in a second, Brian. I think they might have been taking the concept of being prepared for your enemy a little too far there,
Yeah.
right? Because I have said on a number of occasions, you can't come half stepping out here, even though you're a flat earther, and expect to, I don't know, deal a death blow without any acumen. That's a little different slant on the model thing, right? So they might have misconstrued what I said and then took some artistic license with it. Follow?
Yeah, but the way Paul answered the questions left no doubt that he's a flat earther. He knows what he's talking about. He can handle himself in a debate. But he was just asking to have a flat earther head. He wasn't asking for the hierarchy, the silver, the gold. So,
I don't know what that means. All right. Do we know everyone's position now so Brian can get to his point?
Oh, Brian.
Well, yeah, just on what D. Rose said there about Fight the Flat Earth using a toy globe to get correct distances. He didn't measure anything. What he did is he used a tape measure on the toy globe and then asked the internet for the measurement of distance between this city and that city, or city A and city B, or whatever. But the internet is programmed to give you globe distances. So if I ask for the distance between Santiago and wherever, it's going to give me that distance that fits the globe. It's not going to give me maybe a real world distance. You understand? So that's what Craig did. And Flatside he kind of caught Flatside on the hop. So that's what he did. He didn't measure anything. Oh, well, he did. He measured a portion of a toy globe and then matched that measurement with the program, with the internet that's designed or programmed, the AI or whatever that's programmed to give you the globe distance. So it's begging the question with a begging the question. It's nonsense.
Quick shout out to Goldie. He says, "Woohoo!" for the extra coverage. Thank you very much for the super chat. Yeah, I forgot. Obviously, staying live has the advantage that I can still pick up super chats. Really appreciate it, Goldie. But it also, this is what I was actually thinking, just as she sent that super chat. People can still join. So if by chance, because I'm testing the computer and just putting it through its paces a little bit since retuning the memory, and like I say, I want to stay live just to put the extra stress on the computer, there is still a link in the info box below this video. So if you happen to tune in and you're like, oh, this show isn't normally live when I'm awake, well, you can still join. There is still that link. You can still put your views across on the nature of Earth. And this might be that one opportunity where you can join at a different time because we're staying live for testing purposes. But it doesn't mean you can't join. It doesn't mean you can't still interrupt whatever we're discussing if you wanted to. Link is in the info box.
Stay alive because you owe us.
What about the I thought Brian was going to put something up on that doofus canoe, Numpty from Down Under, Roofy. You flashed it up there for a second, then it was gone.
It's still there, yeah.
It's up there.
Must present it.
Go ahead. Do you want to read it out, Brian?
Okay, Nathan, yeah, I will. Second, I'll just get it up myself. Okay, this is from Ruhif on a video I made detailing the actual Black Swan argument. The reason, just for background, the reason I made the video is because people were calling it a flat Earth proof when it's not. The globe Earth debunk. Ruhif comes in and says as a comment, are you saying around the 15-minute mark that we can't do geometry on a refracted horizon? And my response was, LOL, obviously, Glenn.
Yeah, I'm sorry. What year is this?
They're not getting it.
It's been 3 years.
Well, you had to bet, right? Some people said, I said they'll never get it. So I think I'm the winner.
Well, the fact that he's using the outcurve calculator with other people and trying to argue with the outcurve calculator on how much blockage there should be with other people, it's contradictory to his question there, because he's not referring to anything geometric there. Well, he's trying to, but he's referring to something that's refracted within his model. So is he trying to use? It's just like what's his argument? That what we see in the distance is only refraction, and it's based on no geometric anything, according to him, like that he can show. You know what I mean? What's the argument he's making with other people? How could you use the Midwest's outcurve calculator after 2020, January 1st? How could you? There's nothing to use.
Well, remember, according to Kosho, the geometric horizon is not the one that we expect to see. So
there's loads of good quotes like that. Nobody's expecting to see the geometric horizon. That was AB Science. Nobody's expecting to see physical geometry. That was Planar Walk. The geometric horizon only exists in the maths.
Exists in the math.
That's Rumpus.
We do have geometric horizon. Doesn't exist to begin with. It's a married bachelor.
Say again.
But the geometric horizon doesn't exist to begin with. It's a married bachelor. How can you have a location to something optical?
Can't. It's not an actual position.
Another shout out to Goldie for gifting memberships.
Exactly.
Thank
I
you very
can't
much.
stand hearing geometric horizon because it makes absolutely no sense. It's redundant.
yeah, it's about as good as first curve. Makes about just as much sense. So I feel you.
I mean, they even called it Earth curve calculator, not horizon calculator. It's silly.
Oh, it's silly that they're still claiming boats going over the horizon are proof of a sphere Earth. They're not paying attention.
Personally, I would just like to have a line drawn in the same way that we do with atmosphere, in the way that gases don't have inherent shapes. Well, the horizon is not a geographic location.
Yeah, but we've been saying that. What do you want to do? Get a law passed?
No,
How
it's just
about-
I keep hearing the word geometric horizon, which is a married bachelor. It's the same as saying atmosphere.
Ask them if they think the geometric horizon exists below sea level.
Uh-oh.
The horizon itself is merely something taking place in the mechanism of your eye. It's not a location.
Nah, man.
Yeah.
It has nothing to do with geography.
They tell you the horizon has an address, man. What do you think?
Well, it doesn't matter if it does or not, because is it below sea level?
No, the horizon is where the sky meets the land or sea. So you can't have a horizon below sea level when it's forming the horizon.
Appears to meet the sky or sea. Appears.
Right. So
I mean, sea or
whether you
land, not
wanna-
sky.
whether you want to refract it or not, it's sea level.
No, exactly. A quick shout out to Richard
No,
G.
I'm
Says,
thinking we should just pin them down.
This includes you. Says, can you let the panel know? I'm going to include Discord in that they are awesome. I will indeed let them know. Thank you for the super chat.
Yeah,
I'm just
Nathan
saying
gave
we
us
should
all our
bring ballers
badges.
down to using Earth curve and not horizon. They shouldn't be allowed to use the word horizon when they're trying to prove a curve. They should be using a curve to prove a curve.
Hey, Nathan, I know there's not irregardless, but is there such word as irrefractable?
Irrefractable?
Just-
Maybe.
Yeah, just curious. Irrefractable, yeah.
Well, the geometric horizon is irrefractable.
Well, they claim refraction, Nathan. Listen, The oil rigs.
Stop.
Look at what they look like.
Stop. They claim refraction. Yeah. If the horizon is refracted, it is not geometric. Do we all understand?
Yeah, but the oil rigs.
So not a geometric horizon, yeah? That's why I asked Rufy, how's that geometric horizon working out for you? That tangent point, leading edge of a sphere marked with an X labelled horizon in the geometric maths? Yeah, that's a straight line to a tangent point horizon. You need that for the geometric maths. What's that? It's a bent line, so not a tangent, not a geometric horizon, only exists below surface level. Yeah, that's a problem. That's not the horizon we see then, is it? So it's not Earth curve then.
And Nathan, I want to add too, I have a question. I've been in ophthalmology for like 30-something years, optics, making glasses and stuff like that on the side. I know that you can take a level plane linear line, 90 degree, and bend it through refraction, whether it be through, water or whatever, a lens. But can you take something that is already curved like a ball and put it in front of some type of device and straighten it to make it linear, plane, level, straight? Has that ever been done? Because I'm trying to figure out how they look at it as. Yeah, there you go. Because I'm trying to look at it as how do they think that out there the refraction is making that curve go up, giving
What
the
you're
illusion.
asking is, how can they get away with saying, I know it's curved because it looks so flat?
Yes. That's, yeah.
No, they don't know what refraction is. So what you do is you have them define by citation what refraction is, and then it implodes right in their face. I did it the other day on 24/7. It was a lot of fun.
D-Rose, what you're detailing there is how what they claim isn't refraction. What they're claiming is purely mathematical. There's no refraction involved. So even when a baller comes at somebody incorrectly, not understanding their own nonsense, and says, what about the bendy cranes? What they're trying to do there is detail actual refraction, which is a hijack of actual refraction. And most of them don't actually realize that they are 7 or greater than 7/6, right? Or is not refraction, it's purely mathematical. As the distance that they're talking about, it's not refraction, no, it's the distance they're talking about to the horizon is a distance. Now, I made this mistake when I calculated it because I showed that you can calculate that distance laterally in a straight line. Because a curved line and a straight line of equal distance are the same distance, right? So you can calculate it in a straight line, which is what, like when we look out to see the horizon, we see a straight line horizontal, right? That's what we're seeing, right? But the point is that what they have to claim is that there's the uncurving of their globe is happening by them creating a bigger refracted radius. Right? It's complete nonsense. So what? Their refraction starts, at their radius. There's no such thing as what they're claiming when it comes to refraction. What they're claiming is mathematical, and most of them don't understand that.
Outside of the maths, Brian, what they're claiming is on certain days you can see over hills.
Well, that's just silly.
But that is the fundamental premise, and depending on the weather conditions, you can see over bigger and bigger hills some days.
That's not silly.
Yeah,
That's
remember.
However, the way their maths works is the target's refracted with respect to the horizon. Can't refract the horizon. It's required. It's a prerequisite. It is the geometry. The moment they say the horizon's refracted, it's not geometric anymore. And their assertion is a geometric assertion.
So it's game over.
Yes.
Once they say refraction.
Yes. And for the longest time, chuckling about it was all QE and I could do. When we're like, okay, way to, what would you say, bash your face in with a shovel?
Speaking of bashing your face in with shovel, and going back to some of these Globers don't understand the relationship between the horizon and the very Earth curve they're claiming. I posted a Math G, Timmy Osmond, when he showed up here, who didn't understand that the horizon is Earth curve while posting images of the horizon labeled Earth curve.
I don't even know what you're talking about.
Yeah, I know you don't. You're dumb as fuck. The horizon's not a physical edge. Do you need me to rattle off a few quotes from your own side about how non-physical the horizon is? It's 2020, mate. Try and keep up. The horizon is not a physical geometric sphere edge, Tim. Didn't you know? You seem to know about the black swan, but yet you don't know what it means.
What is it then, Nathan?
There's my black swan. It's actually been posted.
Sorry, the black swan we have debunks your claim that this touted shite that you've just presented, claimed to be undebunkable, has just been annihilated by the fact we don't have a physical sphere edge. And that's what you're claiming is Earth curve, mate. Maybe ignore it for the 7th time.
Any of those claims. I've never made any of this. You're strawmanning.
Oh, really? So the horizon in this image isn't Earth curve?
You're just
strawmanning me or ignoring what I've just pointed out. So you've never made that claim. So the horizon in your image is touted for the last 2 years isn't Earth curve then, Tim?
Now that Tim is actually...
Shut up, whoever that is, shut up. Mr. Solaris, shut up.
Say that? Does anyone say that the horizon is Earth curve?
Yeah, you do, you dumb fuck. So you're saying the horizon isn't Earth curve, right, Tim? Nobody says that, right? Welcome to Flat Earth. So just for the clarity that it needs, Tim's just made it clear that nobody claims the horizon's Earth curve, right, Tim?
I've never heard that someone says that the horizon is Earth curve.
Oh, really? What do you think the Earth curve maths is asserting then, Tim?
You're a straw manning his position.
Can you shut up, Mr. Solaris, or whatever you're called? That's it. Yeah, nobody's claiming the horizon's Earth curve. I don't remember anybody claiming the horizon's Earth curve. Can you have a look at my picture with a horizon? I'm claiming Earth curve in. That's what he came to show us.
You can't make
pathetic, man. That shit is pathetic, man.
Yeah, there was 3 pictures of the horizon, and in big bold text it said, "This is Earth curve."
The same picture he was running around with for like 4 years prior to that.
So how much has really changed since then?
Nothing.
I mean, yeah, it's exactly the same right now. You could bring it up, get it back and forth going, and they'll still flip back and forth on horizon being Earth curve, right? They'll still do it.
Yeah, they'll claim both going over the horizon. What does that tell you?
Right, they're going over the horizon that isn't Earth curve, but it does prove the sphere Earth. Somehow. Without it being Earth curve.
Just getting hung up on details over.
It's just words. The definition of words is meaningless, right?
Yeah, I mean, just because the geometric calculator is based on the differential between eye level and sea level, demarcated by the horizon, what's that got to do with 2 flat planes giving you a sphere? Why not?
That's that new math. Flat plus flat equals sphere.
Right, so the curvature calculator is more like you can think of it as curvature calculator.
Yeah.
Really.
Yeah, you can extrapolate out curve from looking at a flat Earth, taking angles from it.
That's
Is
brilliant.
is perspective accounted for in this calculator?
No.
And if you got a problem with us saying it, go look up the mathematician, the university grade mathematician that came here and told us basically the same thing.
The best quote ever for me was Phil Bell in I don't know what server it was in. Could have been Gem Pandas or somewhere that Eli was in, and he said, when this is going back maybe a year and a half ago or more, when there was talk about celestial navigation and that come up, and someone said something, and he said, "Shh, don't mention the 90." Right? If that doesn't say it all, I mean, don't mention the 90. It means you can't have one. You can't have a 90 on the globe. You know what I mean? And the fact that we can have them in reality over huge distances means it's not a globe.
And it's worse than that, Ryan. I mean, if you don't want people to talk about 90, why would you then publicly say that? Right? Wouldn't it be more strategic to just like pretend there is nothing wrong with 90 and then just move past it, right?
It's worse than that, Arwin. They did use a 90 and it's a prerequisite for a globe. Therefore, the 90 that they go, shh, don't mention 90 degrees, is the proof we're on a flat Earth. It was used to make the globe.
Exactly.
Right.
And that's why they say, shh, don't mention 90.
Yeah, but that's like self-defeating. If you just don't mention 90 and you don't say, shh, don't mention 90, then there would have had less of a problem. So it's like, why did they do that?
Well, see, they kind of need the degree measurements to assert a globe. So it's kind of a catch-22. They need those angle measurements to assert a globe, but they need a flat Earth to get those angle measurements. It's a really painful process.
Maybe they were.
I get it, Chuck. But still, why would you then talk about it? Sorry, Chocolate. Why would you say don't mention it? Just don't mention it. Just like put your la 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 mode on and don't mention 90.
Yeah, I get it.
It's so
Arwin's saying
ridiculous.
you're in the interview room, and they're asking you where were you last night, and is you and your wife or spouse with you, and the spouse turns to you and goes, "Shh, don't mention the murder."
Right, exactly. That's exactly it. Why would you do that?
Adam just told you.
Masters
Maybe
of
he thought he was
Jitsu.
maybe he thought he was in a safe space.
Safe space.
Well, I don't think he was saying it like that. I think he was just saying like, listen, we're not talking. In other words, I didn't listen. So what they're saying, like, listen, let's not talk about 90 right now, but let's talk about this. Or was he just saying, don't mention 90?
No, Neil, it was don't mention the 90.
And then I agree with Alwyn. Why would you even say that?
Because you were Bojitsu Mega Super Grandmaster. That's
Yeah,
what.
that's it. Ball jitsu, smashing your face with a shovel. That's what refraction represents. Them smashing their own faces with shovels. Because as soon as you say refraction, as I said earlier, if the horizon is refracted, it is not geometric. The globe is based on a geometric principle of a horizon with a tangent point to it.
Yeah, you turn up to deal with 3 or 4 bad guy flat earthers, and you show them what for by punching your own head in. You punch your own lights out. That's Bojitsu.
Well, they feel like they can say anything, right? That's the confidence they once had.
I guess Baljitsu would explain it, but still, like, why didn't they just say like, yeah, let's just talk about something? Why would you do that? Like, it's like you're drawing attention to your crime effectively that way. It's so ridiculous.
Yeah, well, Nathan said it's exactly it. The perfect analogy. Shh, don't mention the murder. You know what I mean? It's like, you know what I mean?
This is the same guy that on video made a video about Nathan and all the flat earthers. They say we presuppose to make a model. Well, yes, we do presuppose.
Nathan does it.
Make a model.
Nathan does it the best. Come on, Nathan, do it.
He's on for coffee.
Nathan.
He's shy. He does it like identical task. How he did it. I remember when I watched that video, I was like, oh my goodness, is this guy furious? That's Phil Bell, right?
Yeah.
Well, it's
And then
worse than that for
and then
him.
we got the 2023 version where Matthew Lawrence came in here and told us, yeah, would it even make sense to try to measure an R value
That's right.
without assuming that it's a sphere first? Like, what do you mean? Thanks, Matthew.
Yeah, everything's normal here.
Well, what about this, right? Which includes Phil Bell. Sean Hawkins listened to the show and then went back over to Jose's at the time, some years ago, and spent 4 days with everyone on Jose's. And one of those people was Phil Bell, who I heard is a hydrologist, laughing at us because we were saying that water vapor was a gas. 4 days.
Exactly. Yeah.
Yeah,
there's
but that's
there's no
Sean.
take back.
I mean,
There's no take backs. Right? That he is supposed to be a physicist. He can't then come back and say, I was wrong. No. That doesn't work. Even though you come back and say you're wrong, no one in their right mind would ever say or ever laugh at water vapor is a gas. Not even your average retard. So you're guilty. You're busted. That's the least of your problems. Go on the Signature Numpty Clips and check out or Professor Phil Bell. It is a belly laugher of retard proportions.
Yeah, but QE, didn't he say it was only for 2 days, then he realized?
Yeah, it doesn't matter. I mean, it's tantamount to a brain surgeon laughing at the cerebellum as part of the brain. That's what it's tantamount to. So there are no takebacks. You know, just want to put that out there in case you can't fog a mirror.
Well, what was funny about that, QE, and you had it as part of one of your clips, was over on Jose's, one of the guys over there, I can't remember who it was at the time, that he read out a citation, and at the end of the citation, it stated clearly that water vapor was a gas, and it was, I think they even put in that it was less dense than air, blah, blah, blah. And I think it was Dave Rakia had the citation at hand, but this guy was reading it out, and he didn't bother reading out the end part.
Yes.
And Dave Rakia said, maybe you want to read the rest of that, or I'll read it for you.
That got
they all
better,
went
right?
along with it.
After that happened, Sean Hawkins came back moaning, saying I was a liar and I was scummy and I was misrepresenting the situation, because I kept saying this took them 3 days. And he was like, that just isn't true. The whole thing, you scam and liars. I was like, well, what's the problem? He says, it only took me 2 days.
It was 4 days. I remember it. I remember listening to them. 4 days.
Even minutes is too long, though, isn't it?
Exactly.
No,
Yes.
seconds.
Yeah,
Not minutes.
But that right there goes to show you how it doesn't matter what the flat earther said. If the person is a flat earther, according to this person, everything that person says is wrong. Even objective reality, you have to say somehow it's wrong in order to make your point sound like it has more credence. It doesn't matter. It doesn't matter what reality. You just have to go against it because the flat earther said it. So even somebody who studies water should know water vapor is a gas. Like, you don't need to be a professor to know that. But you're going to laugh at the flat earthers who say that.
It's in the word vapor.
But that's what an anti-flat earther does.
I say let them keep doing it. Keep going.
Nathan.
Yes.
You guys were talking about the moment that you talk about the horizon, and then the moment you say refraction, it basically removes it from being a geometric horizon to a whatever you want to describe, an apparent horizon. When I was younger,
No, apparent horizon's redundant. You just used the wrong phrase. That's okay. Go ahead.
when I was younger, the first ever time that I ever questioned how awesome my own father was, because like when you're young, your dad is like Superman, isn't he? He's like, my dad's better than your dad, and he's the best dad in ever because he's your dad, right? You have that bond that you don't break until you're about 15, where you start to question is my dad really as good as what I think he is? And that was the first moment that I ever started to question my dad's like not sanity, but my dad's like wisdom, because we were driving in a car and we were going through Conway in North Wales. And for those that are not aware, it's a coastal road and it's going round a bay, and it's extremely picturesque. On a nice day with good weather, like you can see for miles, you can see fantastic scenery. And we were going through the tunnels. It goes through mountains. It's mountains. Sometimes it's down at the sea level. Sometimes it's up in the mountains. But you've got to go through tunnels. And along this journey, you can't help but marvel at the scenery. The scenery is amazing. And I remember saying to my dad one day whilst we were in the car, "Dad, how far away is the horizon?" And he said, and he gave the textbook answer. He said, "If you stood at the beach, it's 3 miles away." And I remember looking out to the horizon, and I remember thinking to myself, I can see so much further than 3 miles. How far away is 3 miles? And I said to him, "Dad, how far away is 3 miles?" I said, "I can see way further than that." And he's like, no. He said, because the Earth's a certain size, he said, like that means that the horizon is 3 miles away. And we were pretty much down at sea level at this point. And I'm looking out the window and I'm looking to the horizon. Okay, I wasn't stood at the shoreline, and I was probably 20 feet above the beach level. So I wasn't bang there, but I was close enough for me to go, that's not going to make that much difference. Like, this is not 3 miles. I'm seeing like 25, 30 miles, surely. But I had no way of measuring it. And I said, "Dad, how far away is that there? Look." And he's looking whilst he's driving and he's glancing at it. Obviously, he's not taking his eyes off the road too much, but he's glancing at it. I said, "That's way more than 3 miles, Dad." And he said, that's how far it is, son. And I'm thinking, it isn't, Dad. That boat is way more than 3 miles away. And that was like literally the first moment in my adult life, or my late teenage years, where I started to question, was my dad actually right on this? And I never even considered that it might not be spherical. But I just thought that the distance must be wrong, because like he must have got the maths wrong when he told me the 3 miles, because it was clearly more than 3. Looking back on that now as an adult, if I'd have pushed that a little bit further, that would have been me being a flat earther at the age of about 15, because my dad was wrong. It was obviously more than 3 miles. But that's what I remember thinking. And when you said about the horizon being refracted and all that, the minute you say that it's not refracted, that it's not geometric anymore because it's now refracted, well, that means something, right? I remember thinking that as a child, and I remember thinking, my dad's not right there. So I don't know why he's wrong, but I know he's not right, because that's definitely more than 3 miles away. And it's just, that was playing in my head whilst you were talking about that. It was just amazing. My first childhood experience where I questioned the nature of the earth, but I didn't even realize it. And it was because I didn't think that it was 3 miles away. I thought it was like 30. And it is about 30 miles away, but it's not meant to be, is it? Welcome to Flat Earth at 15.
I have a similar story to that. I was sitting in this little boat with my father. We're about a mile out from shore. And my father's oil line would have been the highest oil line, would have been at most 3 foot off the water. And I wanted to know, when were we going to go out far enough to go over the curve of the earth? And he said, "Oh, you'd have to go way out there to go over the horizon." I said, "Well, how far away is the horizon or whatever?" He said, "Oh, you'd have to go out about 15 miles. He didn't know. He just threw anything. Just quick, say something. 15 miles, he said. He didn't have a clue. It's just like, I don't know, but that doesn't look 15 miles away. What's going on in my head? Yeah.
But that's one of those innocent questions that children intuitively ask without any prompt whatsoever. If they're in that kind of scenario, they're going to ask that question at some point. They're going to go, "Dad, how far away is the horizon?" And then Dad's going to come back with the typical 3.1 miles, because that's what they say. And the child's going to look at it, he's going to cross his eyes, and he's going to go, "Dad, that's not 3 miles away." And it's clearly not. But because you're brainwashed into that when you're a young child, and your dad tells it you because that's what your dad was told, you're not going to say to your dad that you're wrong, Dad. That's definitely more than. But because I didn't do that either. I believed my dad. I thought it must have been me that got my perspective wrong with how far away I thought 3 miles was. But I'm looking at this boat miles and miles and miles away, and I'm thinking, that's about 30 miles away. That's nowhere near 3. And like that's the paradox that I had when I was a kid. But all kids get that at some point in different areas. But that was my experience on the first time I questioned it.
Can you imagine?
Thinking, there's no way it's 3.
Can you imagine the rumpus describing that story?
I wanted to ask.
Hold on a second, T-Rose. Just one sec. Okay. Imagine the rumpus disseminating that story, Anthony. So he says, "My father told me it was at 3 miles. And I turned around to him. I said, 'No, father. It's at 1.2 times the square root of the observer's height in feet, I'll have you know.'"
Well,
Yeah,
If you look up
sure.
how many miles can the human eye see at a distance, Google would have it coincidentally with the 3 miles. The range of vision for a person is infinite. You can see for miles and miles. One clear day, you can see up to 3 miles before the horizon due to the curvature of the Earth.
Yeah, because in that paradigm, that's correct, because they're describing things with a perspective exclusive description. So miles and miles. Okay. What at miles and miles and miles? Because if the thing is vastly large, then you can see it for a very long distance because it's got a wide angle. Big things can be seen further away. Like a very tall high-rise building is going to be visible from a very, very long distance because it's got a very wide angle to it. So how far isn't a complete statement or question, because it's how far versus what angle. Because that's what perspective is. It's the angular relationship. So to just say, well, I can see 30 miles. Well, see what at 30 miles? Because if it's land, it might be considerably more than 30 miles if you're talking about seeing a mountain that's close, well, relatively close to the shoreline, like is the case with the Isle of Man. You've got a couple of 1,000 feet of angle to resolve. So 30 miles, no worries. What about the north end of the Isle of Man, where you've got a beach to resolve? Is that a nice wide angle? No. So obviously it disappears at less than 30 miles and everything in between. But just ascribing an arbitrary distance to what you can see is nonsensical. It doesn't make any sense.
Brian, why were you and your dad out at sea? Were you looking for sea potatoes?
I used to be made go fishing when I didn't want to know, but he couldn't leave me at home or leave me on the beach. So if there was nobody there to look after me, so you used to have to go out fishing.
Poaching, you call it. I think that's the right term.
We were fairly visible if we were poaching.
I did a bit of poaching when I was about 12 or 13 up in Scotland. So they have all these nets that they catch the salmon in, and they're only supposed to use them on certain days. And on the days that they didn't, we'd go and tie a couple of them up and then have free salmon, which was highly illegal. Poaching, basically. I'm sure the statute of limitations has run out on that. Quite literally 30 years ago. Anyway, a fun talk about how our fathers have responded to us and turned us into flat earthers in the case of Anthony. Or not quite, as the case may be. But I think I've done enough testing on the computer. So at this point, I will actually say, if you are watching this on either Nathan Oakley 1980 or Nathan Oakley premiering streams, then stay tuned, as there will be an after show to follow. Probably a short one. However, if you are watching live, this is where we bid you farewell. So another massive thank you to all of you smashed the super chat, liked, commented, shared, subscribed, joined as a Nathan Oakley 1980 channel member, gifted memberships, received gifted memberships, and all that good stuff. Once again, stay tuned if you're watching on after show. I've been Nathan Oakley, and I'll see you all in the next video.
What a lovely day!